how have you recorded all those albums? Did you go into actual professional recording studios?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. The first one, I can't even remember how that came about. Honestly, it was so long ago. I was so young then. The second one I did in Missouri because my parents used to live there, and that was with Wire Road Records. So they recorded me in their studio there in Springfield, Missouri. And then the third one was done here in my area in the Westchester area in Malvern with a guy who is out of business, unfortunately. He was a fantastic producer. I loved him. He was my favorite of everybody that I've worked with. But he his claim to fame was that he set up all of Willie Nelson's recording studios.
Oh, nice.
So like, that's what he, setting up studios was really his wheelhouse. And then he did recording kind of on the side. And because he was my friend, he didn't charge me very much. So that was really nice. And then I had a rude awakening when I did the fourth album, which was the last one in Westchester, because I did that with a studio in Westchester. And they are doing a lot of work with Philadelphia companies. They're doing a lot of jingles and stuff. So I think they've gotten some press. And so they can afford to charge, they get to charge more. So I kind of was like, oh, when I got this bill for the fourth album, I was like, crap, I got to start making some money so I can turn out albums. So that's kind of how this whole, like, what you got into, how you found me through that funnel. That's how this whole thing, the whole street team got started from me deciding that I needed to if I was going to do this, that I needed to make some money at it. That still has not materialized, mind you, but I'm hoping that at some point it will.
So is this your day job? What is exactly?
Yeah, my day job is a personal trainer.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Yeah, but COVID has set that back quite a bit. So I'm actually doing some virtual training, which works pretty well. And I actually do have a couple people who come in person, but yeah, for the most part, that's been really sidelined a lot by COVID. So that's kind of frustrating, but what can you do?
So you got your certificate for personal training. You went through that whole.
Oh yeah. I'm National Academy of Sports Medicine certified, which is the hardest, the most stringent of all of them. Yeah. It's a lot of hours and it's really hard. The exam is really hard.
I've heard it is.
So, and then you have to recertify every 2 years. So it's a lot of work. It's kind of constant education. But I love that. I'm a big, I love signing up for courses. Right now I'm taking piano lessons with the Great Courses. The Great Courses, remember them?
Yeah.
So they're still around, believe it or not. They started with VHS and, they would send you out. I actually took a VHS course from them a million years ago. And now they're doing it where you can either sign up for a DVD or you can just stream it. So of course I'm streaming it because why get the DVD when you don't, that you don't need to do that. So I'm taking piano, which I haven't taken since I was in college. And I actually signed up for a guitar course just for the hell of it. Just to he teaches everything from classical to jazz to folk to rock. So I thought, well, that'd be fun, just to kind of brush up my skills and maybe learn a few things. So yeah. So I'm a course girl.
Yeah, that keeps your mind sharp. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So inspirational. How did you learn guitar first? Just growing up, and
I took lessons from a guy. I was 9, and he was probably no older than 24, 25. He was the music teacher at our school, and I loved him. I think he was my first love. I had the biggest crush on my guitar teacher. He was amazing. And he was a very gifted singer-songwriter. I have yet to find him, with all this technology we have and Facebook and all that, I have tried to find him because I really, really want to find him again. His name was Tim Brunner, Brunner. He recorded an album called Alaskan Cowboy. He was from Alaska originally. He moved to Iowa, and that's how I got him because I was in Iowa at the time. And but yeah, he was an incredible musician. And so I took from him for 3 years, and that was basically it. I took classical guitar in college. So this is my first folk guitar really since I was a kid.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so I'm excited about it. But I'm kind of focusing on the piano right now, so I'm going to get through that. I don't think I want to do both at the same time. I think that's going to be too much for my little brain. So I'm just doing the one instrument, the piano right now. And it's funny because I sent the woman who teaches it is clearly a very gifted pianist and obviously a consummate musician. But she's really boring. Like she's just really dorky. Like you just kind of feel sorry for her because she looks like a librarian, like an old school librarian with her hair up and little glasses. And, she wears these little blazers and she's just so dorky. Like you just want to I really just want to take her and just do a complete makeover on this woman. But anyway, and she's probably like way younger than she looks because she's just such an old school marm type. But I'm 5 lessons in now. I think it was like my second or third lesson. And you start out like learning how to play like immediately. She's really good about she doesn't bog you down she kind of has you learn these skills alongside the academic stuff. So you don't feel frustrated that you're just only doing the academics. It's like she really gets you into the skills right away. But I sent part of a clip of the lesson to my daughter. I texted it to her, my 19-year-old in Philadelphia. And she was like, "Oh my God, Mommy, that's so easy for you. Why are you doing that?" And I was like, well, she starts out easy, but I'm sure it's going to get harder. And I'm actually going to have to start practicing.
Yeah. Practice is a big thing. Yeah.
Got to practice. Yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, I'm sorry. I just went off on a tangent, but yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for. That's why we have this space to do this. Just really express yourself. And how did you get where you are now? How did this all happen?
Right.
That's I'm curious always with art like this.
That's so cool. Yeah. So I started writing when I was 9. I wrote my first song when I was 9 or 10. I might've been 10, but it was a song to my cousin called "That's What Cousins Are For." It was a really bad song, but at the time I was quite proud of it.
It was a take on the Dionne Warwick song. Was that
going back to that? No, not at all. Not at all. But my cousin thought it was like the cat's meow. She was so proud of me for writing a song about her. And it just went from there. I wrote a lot of music in high school. I actually wrote a song that I was valedictorian in my high school class. And so I wrote a song and sang that for my valedictorian speech rather than doing the speech. And I've kind of done that ever since. I wrote a song for my oldest daughter's bat mitzvah because the parents were supposed to give a speech. So my husband at the time had to give his speech, and then I got to get up and just sing a song, and everybody wept. And, I got all these, these like, "Oh my God, that was so great." And then she graduated from 5th grade from elementary school. I guess not then. She did that first. I wrote her a song for that. Then I wrote her the bat mitzvah song. Then my now 19-year-old graduated from elementary school from Goshen Friends. And I wrote her a song for graduation. And then I wrote her a bat mitzvah song. So I just do that. I don't have to make a speech.
Yeah. Oh God, and get everybody to cry. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. People still remember the song that I wrote for, probably both of the graduation songs, but I remember the second one. I remember people saying years afterwards, like, "Oh my God, you made me cry." And I'm always like, "Yeah, baby, I made him cry."
Mission accomplished that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how did you get into that was your first song at 9 years old. You just kept practicing as
I don't know. I think it just came. My mother's a poet. And so I think that kind of thing came naturally to me. Music is in the family. My mother's a musician. My mother's a pianist. She was a jazz pianist when she was younger, played in a band when she was, in her 20s. My grandfather was a ragtime pianist. Really, really good, like really talented. And my father used to be a very good pianist. He's not a musician anymore. It's too bad because he had a beautiful voice and he played piano, but he has since given that up and become an old curmudgeon who doesn't really do anything anymore. But
to hear that. That's such a great.
That's sad, actually. But yeah. So my mother still plays. I mean, she's got a baby grand piano in her house, and she still plays regularly. So yeah. So that I think that kind of all just. And my 19-year-old daughter, my 22-year-old daughter plays guitar and plays piano and has a beautiful voice. My 19-year-old is a brilliant pianist, keyboardist, and an incredible singer-songwriter. So when when this is all over, you'll be hearing about her, because Mackenzie Markstein's going to be on the radar. She's going places, that kid.
Good deal. Wow. Where did you grow up?
I grew up I was born in Chicago and grew up in Oak Park for the first 6 years. And then my parents moved. My dad was my stepfather, who I lived with and who was really the dad who raised me, was a Presbyterian minister. So PK here, we're always the worst. And so he took a ministry job in Iowa, northern Iowa. So so we moved there when I was 6 and a half, I guess. And then we moved to Kansas when I was 13.
Wow.
So some Midwestern girl, but my father, my birth father, and his partner lived in New York City for many, many, many years. So I kind of grew up and I spent every summer and every Christmas in New York, in Manhattan. So I kind of had the Midwestern / New York City growing up, which was very odd because, I lived with my 3 siblings in the Midwest, and then I would go and leave them. I would spend the entire summer with my father, and about 2 to 3 weeks at Christmas, about 2 weeks at Christmas time. And I, of course, I got to do things that they didn't get to do, because I went to New York City Ballet and, Metropolitan Opera and, things like that they didn't ever get to experience, really. So it was kind of an odd thing. I'd come home and tell them all about my summer, and it was weird.
That would be exciting.
Yeah. Well, it was exciting. It was kind of lonely, to be honest, because my father and his partner, while they were good to me and we had fun, I missed my siblings. It was hard to be an only child, because I would go from being the oldest of 4 to being an only child. And it was a very hard thing for me to adjust to, because I was really lonely a lot in those, during those summers and Christmases.
Yeah.
But I got to do some fun things. So
where did you end up going to school?
I went to Sarah Lawrence.
Okay. Yeah.
In Bronxville, New York. So one of the 7 sisters. I fell in love with the school. I went around, I got accepted to Columbia and Amherst and Wesleyan and places like that. But I ended up going to Sarah Lawrence because I just fell in love with the campus. And I just loved the way it worked. It's based on the Oxford program. So you don't actually declare major. You have a concentration. So I was a music composition concentration. It was the best 4 years of my life. Really, it was awesome.
So you probably got to perform quite a bit, had opportunities.
Oh yeah. I would schlep my friends and even some of my not friends into New York City on a regular basis to play the clubs, because that's where we had some opportunities for me to play on campus, but for the most part I played in New York City. And so we would all take the Metro North train in, me with my guitar, and my best friend was kind of my manager. And, she would make sure that everything got taken care of the way it was supposed to be taken care of. And I would try to get as many people as I could to, take the train with me and come in. And I don't know if it's still like that. I'm assuming it is, that you didn't get booked a gig in New York City at any of those clubs. I mean, we're talking Bitter End, Village Gate, the Speakeasy, Don't Tell Mama, Broadway Baby, which I don't even know if any of those are still in existence. I know Speakeasy closed a long time ago. Bitter End, I'm pretty sure, is long gone. Village Gate, I'm pretty sure, is long gone. I don't know about the other 2, but you couldn't get booked a gig there without bringing your own audience, which is kind of funny if you think about it, because you would think that in New York City, foot traffic would not be an issue, right? I mean, you think they would get tons and tons of people, but you would be shocked. I would have to bribe people to go in and listen to me play. And I mean, I say bribe, but I mean, there were a lot of times when I'd be like, please, I need 10 people at the show. That's just the way it was. And if you didn't get enough people, then they wouldn't pay you. So that's kind of just, that was the long and short of it.
Worked. Oh, that's pretty wild. So how many years from the time you graduated college until you recorded your first CD? How long was that?
Oh my God. I don't even know. That's a really good, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure that it was called The Real Meaning of Life. The title song was written about a guy that I met in a subway on a subway train. who had AIDS. And the most striking thing about him was that, when I lived in New York City, and after I graduated from Sarah Lawrence, I moved to New York. Of course, that was the natural place to go for a 22-year-old. Where else was I going to go? And so every trip, to and from on the subway, inevitably there'd be somebody begging. I mean, that's just the way it was, and I'm sure it's still like that. But of course, it's been years since I've been on the subway in New York. But this guy struck me, and the reason I wrote a song about him was that he wasn't asking for money. He was asking for people to pray for him. And it was just so like,
Yeah.
So that's the title song. That was the title song to the album. And I want to say, I mean, clearly I didn't have kids then. So I must have been maybe 25, 20. It must have been, 4 or 5 years out of college, 3 to 5 years out of college, something like that. Yeah.
You really went out, paid your dues for all those years. And
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it was, I recorded the demo. Like I said, I don't remember where I did it. I recorded the demo somewhere in New York. I probably paid a lot of money for it, but I don't remember that either. It's so weird. Like my memory is really bad. I should go back. It's a good thing I've done journals. I've journaled my entire life since I was in like 5th grade. So I can go back and catalog my entire life, and thank God, because my memory sucks. So yeah. And then there was a long stretch between that one and the second one. Because by the time I did the second one, I was married, and I don't think we had kids yet, or maybe we did. Maybe Ari was a baby, but I remember very vividly that I bought 1,000 CDs, and they were in the jewel cases. Remember the old school jewel cases?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm sure you still have tons of, as I do.
Yeah.
Boyfriend's like, why do you still have those? I don't understand why you have those.
Still work.
He's like, yeah, but you should just put them on get them uploaded to your computer. I'm like, I know. That's a project. I don't have time for that project yet. But anyway, I remember at the time my husband was furious with me because I agreed to buy 1,000 CDs because I was going to get them so much cheaper. I think he charged me like $3 a CD. If I had bought 500, they would have been a lot more. So I was like, I'm going to sell them. Well, you can imagine where 1,000 CDs ended up.
Sure.
Boxes in my closet upstairs, and they're still there. They are still there. So, and I mean, I did sell hundreds of them, to be sure, but certainly not anywhere near 1,000. So that's one of the reasons why the home CD gets featured on contests in the street team, because I need to get rid of them.
I'm sure it's fantastic.
So I'm coming clean to you, but you can't tell the other street team members that I said that. No, for real. It doesn't matter. It's a great CD. It just I have too many of them. That's all.
Yeah, I remember a lot of artists, especially this was very big in the 2000s, where they go to shows and have boxes of their CDs.
Oh yeah,
I remember
exactly.
that.
Yeah, and the problem with it now is that really, for the most part, people younger than us don't really want CDs. They really don't. I mean, my last big concert, which happened to be February 28th of last year, which you can imagine was literally right under the COVID. I mean, like literally like a week later, everything closed. I lucked out. So that was my release concert. And I was so excited about it because here I had this brand new album with my daughter's cover art. And, I was just so excited about it. And I was like, I'm going to sell a ton of albums. I sold 3.
Oh.
3. And 2 of them were not even the new album. So I only sold 1 of the new album, and they were all to my mom's a friend of my mom's bought all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And she's the age, she's like 78. So there you go. I mean, that's the age of people. And I'm not, me too. Like I haven't bought them recently, but probably in the last 5 years, I probably bought a CD.
Yeah, it's so much more out of a matter of convenience. CDs were a whole lot more convenient than your big vinyl albums.
I know.
But then
it's so funny now. Everybody's going back to vinyl.
Yeah, figure that one.
Like all the millennials and the Gen Zs are all over the vinyl now.
Yeah, they're very fascinated with it. It's like, how did that happen? This is all a matter of convenience.
I know, I don't get it. Although they claim that the audiophiles claim that the sound is better.
Yeah.
From I'm not sure I buy that, but I'm not, to be fair, I'm not an audiophile. So I don't really know.
You have to have really expensive equipment, like a really great turntable, really
Exactly.
great speakers or headphones.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have that. I don't think
No.
most of us notice
And
that.
I just remember my turntable from college that, it was kind of like a little bit warped,
I never wanted to spend that much money on that kind of stuff. And I knew
Right.
kids in school who would like
Right.
have the greatest receivers and turntables. And like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
I know. Well, that stuff's expensive. And now we have a whole new generation of expensive equipment, all these microphones and digital recording stuff that my daughter's now into. My 19-year-old is at UArt. My 22-year-old graduated from UArts in graphic design. And she is now creative director at a PR firm in Philly at the tender age of 22, which I'm quite proud of. And the 19-year-old is a music business entrepreneurship technology, otherwise known as MBET, major at UArts. So she's doing all the stuff that I wish that I could do. Like, she understands Logic Pro. I have Logic Pro on this computer. I took a course in it. I'm sure you can imagine. I took a course and it wasn't good. I don't know whether the course wasn't good or my brain wasn't good, but I just haven't learned it yet. I definitely have tiptoed my way into it. And I started recording a song, one that I wrote to my father last Father's Day. He'll be past 3 years this March. And I wrote him a song on Father's Day last year, and I started to record it on Logic, but I got to tell you, it's hard. It's hard. Like my brain just doesn't, it's just not how you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like she understands it. Like I'll call her and I'll be like, Mackenzie, I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And she'll be like, Mommy, just mess around with it. Just play with it. Like just click a bunch of the buttons and you'll figure it out. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't work like that.
Rat me. Let's play around.
But that's that generation's brain. It's completely different.
It totally is.
They don't understand why we don't understand.
Yeah.
She has no patience for me. And I love her to death. She loves me to death. But when it comes to that, like, no patience.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go to my daughter with anything. She's 20.
Oh, you would?
I know. Forget it. Everything I learn on my own. I'm not bothering the daughter.
What does your daughter do?
My daughter is in Boston and works for a marketing firm. She's lives near Cambridge.
Oh, really? Okay.
About a year and a half now in Boston.
Loves wow, nice. So my boyfriend's daughter is at Boston College. So we went up a year and a half ago before COVID, obviously, and visited her. And it was fun. I love Boston. It's a great town.
Yeah. It's
too much snow though. I'm done with snow.
Yeah.
I'm so done. Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta.
In Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not getting, or did you guys get snow this time around?
Just rain. We're gonna get some little bit of black ice tomorrow. We get snow once a year.
We're getting ice. We're getting ice tonight, like tonight into tomorrow morning. Oh.
Yeah. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, so I
used so you're very familiar with snow.
I don't miss it.
You like Atlanta?
I love it. I've been here since I was 22. I moved here when I was 22. Wow. Yeah. I love it. I will never, ever, even if I had a great job offer to go somewhere north.
Yeah.
I don't think I could.
Well, my brother lived in Atlanta for a little, I'm just going to shut this door. My brother lived in Atlanta for a few years, and I did go down to visit him. I think we visited him once when he was down there. And I did like it. The traffic, not so much, but
COVID's helping with that.
Atlanta traffic is pretty bad.
Oh, just the worst. Yeah. After dealing with it for so many years, and then COVID happened. Because I got myself to a point, I was like, how many more years can I take of this commuting? I can't, this is awful. And then this happened, and it's just like, I've been working so much more from home. Do you have a new song, whatever your latest single is, if you'd like to give us
so here's the thing. I was afraid, and it was nothing against you necessarily, but I started to think I wanted to sing one of my newer songs, but none of them are released. And so I kind of want to just keep it to the ones that have been released, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
And also just to plug, the new album, because
Yeah.
I keep saying the new album, it's a freaking year old. It released on February. It'll be this month, at the end of this month, it'll be a year. But honestly, COVID, I feel like COVID, like, that year, just like time stood still, And so I feel like I could re-release the album and nobody would be the wiser, because
that's really true.
It's crazy.
But that's not so long ago. I mean, honestly, just 1 year.
Yeah. So a lot of music since then, though, which is good. I mean, I've definitely had time on my hands to get some more writing in. So
good deal.
Yeah. So I'll sing. Oh man, he's gonna bark at the door. Hang on. All right, come on in, loser. You want to come up? Come on up. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So I think this is appropriate because, as you know, yesterday was the anniversary of Parkland.
Oh,
yeah, I know, horrible anniversary. But I wrote this song in honor of it sprung out of Parkland, but it really wasn't specifically about Parkland. It was really about all of the survivors of gun violence and victims of gun violence. So it's called Final Kiss Goodbye. I sent him off to school that day, the way I always do. I told him that I loved him and he said I love you too. But unbeknownst to him and me, that exchange was the last one to be, because it was the final kiss goodbye. That was my son, a whole life ahead, and now taken too young. Can anyone tell me how I must go on when a kid with a gun has taken my son? She texted me from school that day. She wanted me to know her class was in the crosshairs. She might not make it home. And so I prayed and wrung my hands, and yet I still don't understand. I didn't get a final kiss goodbye. That was my girl, a whole life ahead, and now she was my pearl. Can anyone tell me how I must go on when he shattered my world and taken my girl? You can keep your thoughts and prayers. We don't need your empty words. Show us that you really care by letting us be heard. Letting us be heard. We stayed up late the night before to celebrate as friends, not knowing it would be the last or how our world would end. The bullets rained down through the door from a weapon made for war. We never got the final kiss goodbye. So this is our stand, and we won't be silent. Now come up with a plan and be ready to show us how we can go on. Now the moment's at hand. This is our stand, and we'll keep on fighting. Now come up with a plan and be ready to show us how we can go on. Now the moment's at hand, and we're taking a stand. You may see the tears still in our eyes, 'cause there should be no final kiss goodbye.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. I've been in TV news now for over 33 years, something like that. So it's just like I've lost count how many school shootings I covered.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty heavy. So yeah. Oh.
I know. My
That's
friend used to tease me that I only wrote sad songs.
hmm
And to be fair,
Yeah.
they kind of had a point. I have written a few happy ones, but for the most part, I kind of think that that's just the natural response, when something's upsetting, like writing is kind of just the outlet for it. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is a therapeutic thing. And then probably how you do that with journaling, it's just
Yeah.
it is a creative process. Not only is it a creative process, but it's a therapeutic one as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really important. Wow. Yeah. I really remember that. It's just, it just kind of always sticks with you. It's a parent's worst nightmare.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Right.
But now we're in the edge of COVID, and kids are now they're having these other stressors.
I know.
Sure is probably, probably seeping into your music as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did just write a song called 6 Feet, about basically kind of dedicated to my mom, but about COVID. And I don't know if you heard that. It was a couple live streams ago. I sang it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and I wanted to sing it tonight. I was just like, I'm always I'm always what's the word? Just careful, about just singing unreleased music. And so if it's in the street team, it's a little different because it's kind of like that little group is a special enclave. But just to put it out there into the ether, I'm careful about that.
So was it very recent that you really upped your social media game? Just like saying, now we're in COVID, I really got to get this out there. I want to.
Well, it's funny. I actually decided to do this before COVID started. Last fall, I was really battling with what am I going to do with my life? Here I am, I was 50, I just turned 53. I was 53 and a half, I guess. I'll be 54 in April. And my boyfriend was at the time we had met in July, and he was we were talking about him moving in, and so I would have these conversations with him about like, what the hell am I doing? I was doing network marketing and I was kind of miserable. I was making all these cold calls, on a daily basis, cold call. And I just got really old. And it wouldn't have been bad if I had been making money at it, but I was miserable and not making money. And he finally said to me, it was like, I don't know, I want to say it was like September, October, maybe of last year. He was like, I don't understand. He's like, if you spend as much time on your music as you do on all these other things that you're not making money at, he's like, you might actually make money at your music. And he's like, and that's what you should be doing because that's your passion. That's what you're so good at. Why aren't you doing that? And I was like, holy crap. Maybe he's right. So that's really kind of, he was really the catalyst. I credit him because I don't know that I would be here sitting here talking to you and have 122 people in my street team, who are, I guess, quote unquote fans, were it not for David, telling me to, do something, really just get off the phone and work on your music. And so I found this program called Modern Musician, and they're the ones who helped me set up this funnel and set up, the street team and all of that, and get the merch. And none of that would have happened without that program. So I'm grateful for that. It's an expensive program, but I think it was worth it for kind of helping me map out the strategy, because it's really hard. Like, social media is hard. People think it's like falling off a log, but it isn't. It takes a crap load of work.
It does.
And a lot of it kind of, frankly, isn't fun for me. Like, honestly, I don't really like the social media part of it. I do it because I'm supposed to. But what I really love is interacting with people. That's really, and I'm kind of an introvert, but when it comes to my music, like, I love my live streams every Thursday. Like, I look forward to Thursday night because I love sitting here and playing and knowing that there are people out there sending me hearts and commenting and, oh, I love that song. And just the interaction is just awesome. And I love playing out. I mean, I miss performing. Like I really miss it. So the live stream is like my one outlet during COVID. Like I actually get to perform every week. And it's, I mean, obviously I wish I were playing out at little coffee houses and restaurants and stuff, but until this vaccine thing takes hold, I don't think that's not going to happen. So,
yeah.
So I do love, I love the personal interaction side of it, but the social media in general, I find quite frustrating.
Oh, it is. There's so much content, and it's really hard to get eyes and ears on what you're doing. Everybody
it's so oversaturated. Everything, and it's not even music. It's every single anything and everything. Under the sun is oversaturated on social media. Like as a personal trainer, like for a while I was trying to get personal training clients using Instagram, and so I would post like motivational fitness quotes and ideas about workouts, and I just was like, I gave up because it was too much work and it wasn't fun. And I was competing with 22-year-olds who have washboard abs, who look like supermodels. And I was like, this is not working for me.
I know. And then maybe you want to just market to, a certain population.
Right. And there is that possibility, but then I didn't know what I was doing. And so, that's a whole other ball of wax, but anyway, whatever. I don't know. I sometimes I just feel like I go through life being half-assed at almost everything I do. But then I realized that no, I'm actually a pretty decent songwriter.
Yeah.
That I just have to keep reminding myself that I am a decent musician. I'm a really kind of little bit better than average guitarist, and I'd say maybe a little bit better than average singer. I'd say I'm a pretty decent songwriter, but everything else, I'm a good yogi. I'm a great yoga teacher. I'm a really great yoga teacher. I really am. And I'm a pretty good personal trainer, but again, it's that oversaturation thing. Like, every freaking Tom, Dick, and Harry is a personal trainer. Seriously, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It's like in the technology is
and yoga too. I mean, every other. Do you realize at one point there were 3. Now there are only 2. There were 3 yoga teachers in my cul-de-sac.
Oh.
My cul-de-sac only has like 15 houses in it. 1 out of every 5 people was a freaking yoga instructor.
Yeah, insanity now. Oh wow! So do you have another song from your latest release?
So this is from the new album as well. It's called Another Full Moon. I wrote this to my mother about my dad's death. It's a real upbeat, happy song.
Another uplifting one, yes.
Exactly.
It's another full moon and she's missing him with far too much time on her hands. And she knows that it won't be the same again. 'Cause how can it be when it's only she with her dreams and her singular plans? But there goes the hawk in the sky overhead, and there's the familiar refrain of the tune that will always remind her of him and the sun after all of the rain. It's another full moon like it was before, and so many more like the last. Will there ever be something she can ignore? Or will there always be a reminder that he left her standing here holding the past? But there goes the hawk in the sky overhead, and there's the familiar refrain of the tune that will always remind her of him and the sun after all of the rain. But what will we do when the gray takes control of us? How do we fight the despair? What would his counsel be? What would he say to us? Whenever you need me, I'm there. make a life of her own. And although she's not really sure of how, she's strong and alive. She'll do more than survive, and he'll never leave her alone. 'Cause there goes that hawk in the sky overhead, and there's the familiar refrain of the tune that will always remind her of him, and the sun after all of the rain, and the sun after all of the rain.
Excellent. Oh, so emotional.
Yeah.
You write what you know. That's really
Yeah.
what the process is for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
my daddy died on a full moon. The largest full moon any of us had ever seen. It was so big that it took over the entire horizon line. It was incredible. And so that was that's in every full moon. And of course she thinks of him and talks about him. And so, yeah, we miss him.
But she's doing well. She keeps up with her music
yeah, she's doing okay. COVID's been hard on her, but
yeah. Wow. It's amazing.
Wow, I can't believe we've been on.
I know, see with chatty Cathy's here. That's how it works. So who are your biggest inspirations growing up and, are popular?
Yeah, so, and they still are to this day, even though one of them for sure is long gone. James Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Cat Stevens, Billy Joel.
Of course.
And Chicago. And then later, in my later years, like those were kind of all, high school, college. And then I kind of glommed onto the Indigo Girls. And then in my early 20s, or kind of mid 20s, I guess, I found Cheryl Wheeler. I don't know if you ever heard of her. Do you know Cheryl Wheeler?
Familiar, yeah.
So Cheryl Wheeler is actually from Maryland. And she's kind of does the Eastern Seaboard circuit quite a bit. Now, of course, since COVID, she hasn't, and I don't know when her last concert was, and I don't know when it will be because she's older than I am, and I'm sure she's had to be very careful, but she is, you need to look her up. Cheryl Wheeler is Cheryl. Wheeler is, I think, probably one of the most gifted female songwriters of our time. I mean, I would honestly go that far. She's incredible. So yeah, so those are my big, and I still adore Cat Stevens. I fell in love with him in my teens and still love him. I saw him in Philadelphia about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I've actually seen him twice in the last 6 years. The first time I went was like 7 years ago, right after my divorce. It was like my divorce present to myself. It was $400. The tickets were $400. I've never spent that much money on a concert ticket ever in my life. And I was I was like, I have to do it. Like, I've always wanted to see him in concert. And then I went again a couple of years later, and it was another like $350 that I plunked down, but worth every penny. He still sounds amazing. But yeah, so I'd say, but Dan Phillips probably my biggest, and James Taylor, those are probably my two biggest influences in terms of just style. Billy Joel also was huge, and I still I worship the water he walks on, but
somehow, some way, like my life, everything points back. It's like the 6 degrees of separation with Billy Joel. Because
oh, really?
My career, I interviewed a sax player, been kept in touch with Mark for years and years. And then the guy who joined his band about 6 years ago, Mike Del Giudice, who sings the operetta during the shows. Of course, they're not happening now, but
right.
Mike was in a band called Big Shot, this tribute band, and then they so I did a video package on Mike, and when they came here to Atlanta, oh my gosh, now it's 4 years ago. I went backstage, and there was it really seemed like a wax figure to me. It's like it's weird to see somebody that close, and that I'm like, here's a guy.
Was he nice? Was he?
I didn't want to approach him because he didn't look like he wanted to be approached.
Oh, really?
Just sitting there backstage. I think he was there for an interview with somebody else. So I was like 5 feet from him. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I've seen him so many times over the years.
Right. Yeah. I've only seen him I saw him live in concert at Giant Stadium with Elton John.
Oh, the face.
That was the only time I ever saw him live. Now, my 19-year-old saw him a few years back in Philly. I think Lincoln Financial Field or something he did.
Yeah, he always goes
there.
there.
Got to see him there, and she was really close. Like, she went, her best friend's mom gave them tickets for her best friend's birthday, and this was like, I don't know, 4 years ago or something. And they got to sit up, like, way up front. Like, it was
front
row, and she was so starstruck. I mean, and I love the fact that my girls love my, like my peep, because they can appreciate the musicianship. But, and I have a theory about meeting your heroes. When I was 22, yeah, just out of college, 23 maybe. I was really close friends with a woman who, and for many, many years after that, who was dating the sax player for Dan Fogelberg. And so she got us backstage tickets and backstage passes and a limo ride to Jones Beach to see Dan Fogelberg in concert. Now, this was before he got sober. So he was drunk through the entire concert. And he forgot the lyrics to Leader of the Band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the audience had to yell out the lyrics to him.
Oh, no.
And at the time I felt so vindicated because even though I have this very strange kind of almost photographic memory for music, like I could hear somebody else's song and sing it back almost verbatim, within one or two times of hearing it. With my own music, I don't have that. My own music is completely blocked from my brain. And so when I used to play, as a young, in New York, when I would play the clubs and stuff in New York City, I would spend hours practicing my music. And even then, I would inevitably screw up because I couldn't remember my lyrics. And so I felt so vindicated that day.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God, Dan Fogelberg forgot the lyrics to one of his most famous songs ever, and of course, I don't think I knew he was drunk during the concert because obviously he was a functional alcoholic and was able to, other than forgetting the lyrics to that song, was able to function pretty well. But we went backstage afterwards and I was literally just so starstruck. I can't even tell you, like, this man was talk about being on a pedestal. I mean, he was like way up here. And I walked up to him and he was drinking whiskey out of the bottle, like just straight out of the bottle, and it was then that my young, 22-year-old self figured out that he was drunk out of his mind. And but I fearlessly walked up to him anyway, because Victoria told me to. And I was like, I just want you to know that I'm a fellow singer-songwriter guitarist. And I said, and you have been such an incredibly major influence in my life. And I don't know what I would have done without your music. And I don't remember what he said. And I think I have purposely blocked it out because he was so nasty. Rude. He was so rude. He basically blew me off. I mean, I was, here I was this 22-year-old kid, and I'm sure he thought I was just stupid and, an idiot. And, but I was so hurt. And I remember writing in my journal that night about how you should never meet your hero.
Yeah, that's true. You're getting them at a bad time, and it's...
Yeah. Now, he got his shit together after that. He got sober, and I'm sure had I met him a few years after that, before he died, it would have been a different experience. But it was very crushing. It was soul crushing.
Sure, yeah.
I still remember that feeling. Like, even now, I still remember that like punch to the gut of that, like, I can't believe that my hero just talked to me like that.
There goes my hero.
Yeah, and there you go. I mean, it just goes to show that nobody should be a hero. People should not be heroes. Because they're only human, and they're going to be human.
You'll be in their moods. You may have a great experience with that person and just rave about it the rest of your life, or it could be soul crushing.
Right? Yeah.
Those are great stories.
You want me to leave you with one more song?
Let's do one more song. Yeah.
You got any more questions, or was that it?
I'm good. Yeah. No,
Okay.
We'll do another.
I know. I didn't know how long this was supposed to be, but I kind of figured about an hour. So.
Yeah, there's no limits. There really are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether to do this one. I'll do the title song. I'll do the title song. So this song was written again, a real uplifting, spirited song. Not. This is called "What Have I Lost?" Title song to the album, and written in 2014, right before the divorce, but basically, after the separation. So. All right, let's try that again.
What have I lost? The empty space in the bed doesn't begin to answer the question. What have I lost? The empty space in my head, devoid of the usual self-expression. So how should I count all the things that are gone? And how do I try to begin to move on to the voice in my mind? What do I say? The one who keeps asking me if I'm okay. What have I lost? The comfort of your embrace isn't the only thing I am missing. What have I lost? Security in this place, or maybe it's only my reminiscing. So how should I count all the things that are gone? And how do I try to begin to move on to the voice in my mind? What do I say? The one who keeps asking me if I'm okay. Am I okay? It depends on when and how you ask. It depends on the way the day has passed. And the answer's never quite the same. 'Cause the question can't be who's to blame. What have I lost? Uneasiness in my life doesn't begin to answer the question. What have I lost? The label of being your wife and all of the needless self-repression. So how should I count all the things I don't know, the ones I can't see that are making me grow? To the voice in my mind, what do I say? Maybe it's time to answer I'm okay. I'll be okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful music. Beautiful. Yes. So where can we get all this music? Is it through your website? Can we?
Yeah, songwriter.stephaniephillips.com is the website. And of course, I'm also on Spotify, Stephanie Phillips on Spotify. I'm on Instagram, Songwriter Stephanie Phillips on Instagram, YouTube, Songwriter Stephanie Phillips on YouTube. So yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I had a great time. We'll hopefully hear from you soon.